All right, guys, looks like we are live. How many freaking live shows do you see where people say that and stuff, right? Okay, I got a little light issue going on here. It is dark and gloomy and rainy on a Sunday, which is always like, comics, that's the nostalgia of comic books, where you would go in your room, jump on your bed or something, have a stack of comic books and just read in your room, maybe play a little music because it's raining outside. You can't go out and do anything. So yesterday I went down to got my neighbor to give me a ride, and I met Scott Connor down there, and then we did some things after it. But they had a comic book convention in Dublin. What's up, Random Comics? Hi, bro. And down there, it's in a community college in Dublin, Virginia. This is the fourth year they've had it. I think I've done 2 panels there over the years. Didn't do one this year. And it's just a cool little comic book convention set in a community college. So if you look at the initials, the title of this, that's how I understand it. It was the New River Valley Community College Comic Book Convention. I think that's how it went. I don't know. They also have a New River comic book convention that goes on a different part of the year, and that's why I've always been sort of confused with the names. I didn't put all that together. So anyway, I got down there. I did not spend a lot of money. I spent somewhere between maybe $20 and $26, and I actually left a magazine downstairs, so we may walk here in a minute. But anyway, so it was really cool. They actually had some professional artists there and people who've been in the industry. Okay, but first of all, we'll do the haul. I'll talk about it as we go along here. But there's always this one vendor that I see all over the place, and I always hit them up first. They have dollar boxes, which is always full of great stuff. The lady and her, I don't know, boyfriend, husband, or whatever like that. But the lady's the one that does the comic books. Her boyfriend slash husband, I'm not sure what their situation is, seems to do the toys and anything else that he brings. And she gets the magic of, going through dollar boxes and finding a little gem. So she's not real hardcore into pulling stuff out. So I got a few things off of her. First thing I got was this key book, number 16. What was his name? Warpath. Oh, one blank. But anyway, Thunderbird's little brother from the X-Men. This is his first appearance in New Mutants. He went on to be in X-Force, becoming the second Thunderbird. I think he was Warpath in this, or something like that. So, yeah, New Mutants number 16 for $1. Pretty good shape. Just a little issue in the back with a little rip, and that's about it. Thought that was cool. Have found some key books. Wonder Woman. I actually had these off the rack when this series came out in '87. No idea what happened to them. So these are, just kind of filling some gaps. Number 6 of Wonder Woman by Len Wein, and that is how you say his name. It's Wein. Yeah. Mike Urey, who was an editor for DC Comics, and he works at Tomorrow Publishing's doing back issue magazine, confirmed that is how you say his name, Len Wein. Okay. So anyway, but Len Wein, George Perez, the first post-crisis appearance of Ares. Then with the movie coming out, that's kind of the movie that came out. That's a bit of a big deal. And then Barbara Minerva, who became the post-crisis Cheetah. This is her first appearance, number 7. I may already have this. And then I'll pick these up all day long if they're in pretty good shape. Going back to 80, 81. Hey, what's up, Louis? Awesome. Louis saw the Thor movie. And he lives across the pond, if you will. And I said it was a Kirby love fest. He let me know on Twitter. Okay, so I got these. These are some early issues of Titans. I already have these, but I will, like I said, if they're cheap, I'll grab them. And I usually go for the UPC symbol, just to feel like they came off the rack instead of the direct market back then. But New Teen Titans number 3. Titans seem to be getting a little bit popular. I don't really follow too much news anymore as I used to on the comic book news, but I've heard rumblings of movies and TV shows, cartoons, I don't know. Number 6. Hey, Shinto Ketchup is here. What's up, guys? So here's number 6 with Trigon, which is some fantastic. You can see Kirby's art becoming better and better with these issues. Number 8 of the New Teen Titans. We're back in 81 here. And the Titans was the DC book that when Wolfman and Perez came over and put in some new characters in there and researched this. This book was going neck and neck with the X-Men when Byrne and John Byrne and Chris Claremont was on there. At number 10, now significantly, Teen Titans number 2 is the first appearance of the Terminator. Later became Deathstroke the Terminator, right? This issue would disappear out of my collection every now and then. I can never figure out why. All right, and it was getting stolen. It was no big deal because this is the second appearance of Deathstroke to Terminator. This is New Teen Titans number 10, and it's really good, man. It has some really good fight scenes in there and a little bit of a Doom Patrol lore going in there that foreshadowed the next coming issues. New Teen Titans book was really good. I'm appreciating this much more than when it first came out. Just fantastic stuff. And to me, George Perez's art in this, like, leaps and bounds. Jumped in this one. This was fantastic. So if you see number 10, go ahead and grab it. Second appearance of Deathstroke, and, you know, people do want it. Now, from the same vendor, I found this book, right? The Losers. Now, before I made this video, I looked around this morning, and it's killing me because the book I'm going to refer to, I just saw it the other day, right? But the significance of this is the Losers 161, right? If you've watched my videos for a while, I've talked about when I was a kid, Kirby art actually scared me. And ironically, now I'm been a Kirby nut for decades. You know, probably around Superpowers when that came out or something. I don't know. But, you know, eventually it was like a little kid. I was like 4 and 5 years old. And this book came out in 1975. And the significance of it is that this is the very book that was the issue where Kirby scared the hell out of me. See if we can get it in there, man. But I was a kid, I remember seeing these demon heads and those harsh black inks, and the way he drew that man in the middle there. It just, the color palette, the colors, everything about that just freaked me out when I was 4 or 5 years old. Right, so I had the coverless copy of that very book. It never was never was gotten rid of. It was my stepdad's, I think, or my uncle's, who knows, and stuff. But I still have the coverless copy, right? So to be going through this, and I pulled this out of the box, and I was like, I wonder, you know, it was just a random Losers comic in those dollar boxes, and I opened it up, and there it was. So now I have a, you know, I'm going to find the coverless copy and put these in a bag together. You know, always preserving that childhood, if you will. Right, and then I got this. This is what I geek out on, guys. Okay, Justice League, Justice Society, and the Legion of Superheroes. Number 148 of Justice League of America, Bronze Age Classic. Hey, Gretzky, what's going on, man? Mr. Gretzky 9966 is here, right? So for the Justice Society to pop up, you know, every year the Justice League would have a Justice League Justice Society crossover, Earth 1, Earth 2, and then we finally had one that, you know, due to Mordro and some magic, you know, we got the Legion of Superheroes pulled in there and stuff, man. Show-to-last, and it's, to me, I've always had this thing where I really get a kick out of anytime I get to see the Justice Society of America interact with the Legion of Superheroes. You got the first superhero team from the 40s, World War II, all the way up to, you know, what considered probably the last DC superhero team thus far of the Legion of Superheroes. So yeah, I always get a kick out of that stuff. I don't really push these books, man. You know, the Justice League books, you like them or you're not. They're golden age. They're silver age stuff, right? So yeah, there's those books. Okay. So I was walking around and just kind of walking around after I got those books, and I was kind of seeing some other vendors. And I looked over there, and I started seeing some prints on the table, and it led me up to a man that was sitting there, just being kind of nice, kind of looking at me. And then I saw his name, and I saw a few other things he had there, and it was Richard Case. Now, Richard Case apparently lives in North Carolina. He's doing this little comic book convention, and I immediately knew the name from Doom Patrol. I was caught a little off guard because I didn't expect him to be there, but we started talking. I started remembering he's worked on Sandman and some stuff at Marvel and things like that. But where I found the guy was in Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol. Hey, Tat, what's going on? On lunch break early in the morning out there. Awesome, man. So I jumped over there to the vendor I just bought those books from. I grabbed 2 issues of Doom Patrol I saw, just random issues, you know, but definitely he had done with Grant Morrison. And I told her, I was like, look, you know, the guy who wrote these books are over there. Can you just give me 2 for $1? Because I've already bought stuff off of you. And she just kind of laughed, you know. She's like, oh, yeah, but they're $1 a piece and stuff, right? But I went ahead and got these signed by Richard Case, and very nice man. Was talking to him. I asked him what it was like to do a, hey, what's up? We got people, all kinds of people coming in. So I asked him the big question. I know he'd been asked probably like a dozen times, you know. It was like, what's it like working off of a Grant Morrison script? And he just kind of smiled and laughed, and he started talking and talking, and he finally got to the point of what I was wanting to know. He said, of course, it was pre-internet days, and Grant Morrison did make an effort for him to have everything he needed to know about some of the concepts. Grant Morrison pulled in Dadaism and all this wild stuff in the Doom Patrol, and he admitted, he said about once a month, Richard Kay said he had to go to the library about once a month to look up some stuff for reference and stuff to know what the hell he was supposed to draw. And that's exactly what I thought I was expecting and stuff, right? Um, so I got some other books here just to go through these real quick if you're a Kirby nut. But first of all, I've reached the point where I was like, you know what? I'm kind of done. Yes, Louis, Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol is genius, man. And I looked up. I found in the 90s, late 90s, the Doom Patrol started out on the newsstand in the 80s. Steve Lytle, Paul Cooperberg. It kind of went up and through Invasion. Graham Nolan came in, I think is what his name was. Cooperberg came off. And then all of a sudden around issue, I don't know what it was, 2019, 2021 or something, Grant Morrison came on the book. And another artist came on the book. And the book went direct to market to where it eventually became a Vertigo title. And you couldn't get those. So I looked up. I was just kind of driving around sometime in the late 90s. And I found the whole run in a dollar box. And this was when Grant Morrison was, really just starting to really hit in America. He'd already done Animal Man, Doom Patrol, Sebastiano. So I was kind of skeptical, and I got I think I went ahead and got like a year's worth. I got 12 issues, first 12 issues of that series, and I was back, driving an hour back to that comic book shop like the next weekend. Crawling from the wreckage, that's it, man. And the comic book shop owner knew what I was there. I came in the shop, didn't even look at him, started going back to the back issues, and he just sat there and he went, this is a week later, and I don't live in that area. And he just sort of went, so you liked the Doom Patrol, didn't you? And I was like, yes. So when I got the rest of the series. And he actually cut me a little bit of a break because he knew how far I drove to get those, and I'd been there the weekend before. Okay, but moving on. But I had to get this. This is the, what is this, 86? 1987 again. 1987, this is the Little Shop of Horrors movie adaptation, right? By DC Comics and stuff, right? But I kept looking at the art. And I was like, something's familiar about it. Open it up. It's Gene Colan doing the movie adaptations. So that was good. Yes, I love this movie. I love Rick Moranis. Rick Moranis was one of those guys. He cracked me up. He and Martin Short just cracked me up, all the time. So yeah, Steve Martin in this. This is just a fun movie. So it was really cool to get to find that, man. Great shape. Feed me, Seymour. Yes. My favorite is Steve Martin as the the dentist, so. And then I cannot believe I found this. I opened it up. I said, the Marvel stamp must be out of this. Something's wrong with this. I got it. It's a really good copy of Invaders #3. I completed my All-Star Squadron run by Roy Thomas of the World War II heroes, and I'm always picking up Invaders. I still have the Invaders books my stepdad had when I was a kid, which is, it had one issue had Warrior Woman on the cover, and the other issue had Master Man on the cover. They'd wiped out the Invaders on both of them and had Union Jack and stuff. So to find #3 for $1, some Bronze Age Marvel stuff, I was just like, that's fantastic. And then my Kirby stuff, two of these were upgrades, but I needed this one. This is 2001: A Space Odyssey by Kirby. Fantastic. It kind of bounced off the movie a little bit. I did read some of these. I have the Marvel Treasury edition, which is more of a, I think, the faithful adaptation to the movie. But Kirby took this, and it flashes back between cavemen in the future and tribes and stuff. And when I read this when I was a kid, I thought it was weird. And I was just like, wow, it was so out of place. And as all things Kirby, it actually turns out as I got older and reread this, it was 20 years before its time. This is a book that was 20 years before its time with Kirby. But there's #3 with, very, very bad man there on the cover. #2, so that's an upgrade. And #4, that's definitely an upgrade. So, yeah. So, just fantastic stuff, man. Now, to keep going on here, there's books that I see, and I have to catch myself. Now, the next thing I hit were a guy who had 2 for $1, 50-cent bins, right? And apparently it was his personal collection. He just didn't want to do the math. He didn't want to, I think he said he just didn't want to, pack it back home and stuff. And I wish I'd hit him first thing, because the boxes were already shrinking, and he has some really good stuff. But there's certain books I have to watch myself because I will buy them to give them a home and have multiple copies of them. One is the New Mutant Special by Arthur Adams back in the day that led into the X-Men Asgardian Asgardian War story that they had and stuff, which that book is just beautifully drawn by Art Adams and stuff, right? I have to get that. It's like, I think it came out in '85 or something, right? Then there's this book. And the ironic thing is that it took me forever to find my first copy, right? This is the question, number 17, okay? This should be Denny O'Neil, Denny O'Neil and Cohen. Good morning, buds. What's up, Nerd Vision? So this book here, now I want you to listen to this, right? I've shown this before, but it's the question number 17, right? I have to get this book every time I see it. First of all, it took me forever to get it because it has The Watchmen in it. In The Watchmen, when Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, people already probably know this, but, he took the Charlton heroes. Say, bro, have a clock back in. Have a good day. All right, brother. Good to see you, Tap, man. So, what happens is that the Rorschach from The Watchmen was based on the question, right? So all of a sudden, Denny O'Neil came in there, and I think he had a little bit of a problem with, the Watchmen. So the question gets on a plane, a passenger plane, and he ends up reading The Watchmen, right? He's reading The Watchmen, and he's reading about Rorschach, and he's like, man, maybe I need to be more like Rorschach, right? He lands the plane, decides to start trying to act like Rorschach, and just about gets freaking killed. And what people kind of miss about the end of this is that he's in the snow. Rorschach died in the snow in the Antarctica. The ending scene in this where you kind of wonder, is our hero going to survive, is in the snow. It's really cool, but he has a dream on the plane after he reads Watchmen and meets Rorschach. So it's technically the first DC crossover, even though it was just a dream. I think I have 3 or 4 of these now, and I always have to grab them. And I'm like, you got a problem, man. You got a problem. Other 50-cent books to go through real quick. Elektra, Frank Miller and Bill Sienkiewicz's epic comics of Elektra. Assassin. Always grab these. These are later issues, 5, 6, and 7. Oh my, I had a phone call. Sorry, guys. And so, yeah, these are Sienkiewicz art, Frank Miller story, but I got 5, 6, and 7, and this last cover just cracks me up, So you might be able to reference the gothic, idea behind this one of the farmer and his wife and the pitchfork. So, finish this up. And I also found this for $1. I could have got 6 or 7 of these, but this is New Mutants number 100, where it's the official first appearance rebranding of the New Mutants as X-Force by Rob Liefeld. And I'm not going to go through every cover on this one, guys, because I have to return a phone call now. But I'm now about 96 issues away from having the Cerebus run from number 26 to 300. Okay, about 96 of them. I found a lot of them for 50 cents a piece off this guy, which was fantastic. All right, guys, I have to return that call. I'm going to do another live stream here in a minute, guys. Thanks for hanging in there. I may have some more stories there. Thanks to my neighbors for taking me down to the con. Thanks for Scott Connor taking me out to eat. And taking me out to eat and then hanging out with me last night at my house and stuff. We just listened to music, watched some old Saturday Night Live episodes and bullshitted about stuff. So, cool, guys. Catch you later. I'll be back this morning.